Hi, I thought I'd do another review on one of my rifles, one of the more interesting rifles in my collection. So take a look at this bad boy. It's the Baikal MP221. The main feature of the Baikal is that it solved the problem of barrel regulation by putting an adjustment screw in. I'll just see if I can get a close up of it. You might not be able to see it, but in there's a wee wheel with a hole in it, and you can adjust the regulation between the two barrels by using that. In the double rifle world, the measure of accuracy is what they call minute of grapefruit. So I think how it works, if you can hit a grapefruit at 50 metres, then it's spot on. And so knowing that, when I first bought the rifle, I put the scope on it. And what I did for a start, I hand load. I don't buy ammunition from the shop. And I've already got 308s and stuff, so I had a big range of, and I had a 300 blackout at the time as well. So I had a big range of 30 caliber bullets. So what I did is bought 100 shells and started loading them up, and I loaded them either in 8s or 4s, because I worked out that, you know, if you're going to shoot the rifle, it's got wee skinny barrels on it, and they heat up pretty quick. So I started off by shooting 4-shot groups, 2 out of each barrel, and noted which barrel they were coming from. So then I could see the accuracy that each barrel had, and also how each barrel related to the other barrel. So the object is to, at 50 metres or 100 metres, you get the two bullets almost converging. And so I loaded up a whole range of bullets, and just for a bit of a giggle, I loaded up some 130 grainers. And there was the problem I had, and it was actually a good problem, because when I used 130 grainers, they produced, well, for a double rifle, exceptional accuracy. I was shooting them over a sandbag or a shooting rest. And just a note that when you're actually shooting a double rifle or a single rifle that's not free floated or anything, you use the rest to rest your hand on, not the rifle. So when you're sighting it in, I'd sighted it over top of the car standing up, and I did that for a good reason, and that's probably the way you're going to be shooting the rifle, in that position. I didn't do it lying down or at a bench rest. And so you rest your front hand on the sandbag or whatever you got, because otherwise, if you just rest the gun on like that, it doesn't replicate how you're going to shoot in the field, and you also find that you get a heap of jump when you fire the bullet. And so the difference of impact between you resting on a sandbag and your actual shooting offhand can be quite considerable. So what happened was I loaded up a range of bullets, started shooting them, and they all produced quite good accuracy as far as each barrel went, but the regulation was miles out, and some of them were worse than others. So how it progressed is that, say 165 grain, they were within the accuracy between the two barrels was within what the factory said it should be, but not particularly accurate. And what actually happened was, I'll draw on a piece of paper so you can understand. Say with say 190 grain or something, the two bullets shot alright, but the left barrel would be where the right barrel should be, and vice versa. So I should have kept all my targets, but the right barrel would be down here when you're shooting at it. The right barrel would be over this side, say down here, and the left barrel would be up here like that. So barrel on barrel accuracy was quite good, but the relationship between the two barrels was quite significant. Now the one thing I wasn't sure of is when you adjust the adjusting screw on it, whether that would also alter the relationship for the elevation as well as the side to side. But the problem was when I fired the 130 grainers, they were all within, they were exactly where they should be. One barrel was, the left barrel was on the left hand side like that, and the right barrel was probably about there. And so as it was at 100 metres, the impact, the group would have probably overlapped. So I played with the screw a wee bit. So what I expected to be a rifle that I was only going to use in, running shots at 50 metres or something like that, all of a sudden become a rifle that I could potentially use at 150 metres, which is more suited to the 30-06 calibre. But the problem is when you've got a gun that's shooting that accurately, do you want to change it? And that was the, and so after having it 2 years, I'm still shooting the 130 grainers out of it. My eventual goal would be to play around with it until it shoots, say, 180 grain bullets, and I'll lose the scope then once I've got it all dialed in. But I'm just so reluctant to give up something that is so accurate. And for most of the game I shoot, 130 grains is fine. I've shot a few balls and stuff with it, and it makes a decent sized hole in them, and seems to stop them reasonably quickly. So that's the process I went through. And as I say, it's actually almost created a problem from being miles more accurate than I thought it would be. Yeah, so yeah, as I said, the process I went through was blazed away at a target for a while, picked 3 or 4 loads that I thought were pretty good, narrowed it down to one load that was really good, and that's where I've left it. Yeah, so what else can I say about it? The triggers are not fantastic, especially the front trigger. I haven't actually shot a double barrel shotgun with twin triggers much, used one a wee bit, but when you're shooting ducks or something like that, the length of pull is not so important. But I find with this one, the front trigger is just too far away from me. I can't get a decent finger on it, and the back trigger is almost too close. But if you want real accuracy, the back trigger is probably the way to go, because it's actually a wee bit lighter as well. So that's the problem I had with the triggers. Now I'm not sure where to go from here, because do you sight in one barrel that's spot on, do all your sighting with that, and accept that your second barrel, or say the front trigger, is just going to be a follow-up shot and maybe impacting a couple of inches away from where you want to shoot, or an inch and a half, or do you persevere and try and get the load that you want that's shooting exactly where you want it, and have the grouping overlapped. I sort of half-toyed with using 2 different loads, one for the left barrel, one for the right, and just get them like that. But as I said, as yet I'm not that keen on changing the load now, because as you say, when you've got something that shoots good, why change it? The actual load I use is a 130 grain 30 calibre bullet. It's a hollow point, and I haven't got a super hot load in here. I've got a load that probably actually replicates a 308 and more. It's sort of it's not the hottest load you can make. It's sort of medium. I'm not going to tell you what I put in it exactly, because apparently you're not meant to do that sort of thing on YouTube. Yeah, so nothing spectacular with the rifle. Well balanced. The wood's not too bad on it, and the metal works pretty good as well. Like a lot of things Russian, it's quite unique to Russian gun design. And in a way it's quite innovative, really. Solved a problem that's been around for a couple of 100 years about how to regulate a double barrel rifle. I wouldn't say they've got it exactly right, but yeah, for someone who wants a double barrel rifle at a good price, it's not too bad. I pulled off some of my best ever shots with it. The first time I took it out, what I sometimes do when I get a new rifle, even if it's a large centerfire calibre, is to take it out after shooting hares or something. A good opportunity to get a feel for the rifle. And the first thing I shot with it was a hare that was running at about 95 metres or something like that. And, it was a relatively easy shot, even though it was running, because it was directly away from you. I meant to hit it in the back of the head, but I hit it in, sort of halfway down the animal. And yeah, it was running, so not a bad shot. And the next thing I shot with it was a medium-sized wild boar that bolted, and it was the fastest thing I've ever seen moving, because it was downhill, quite steep. And I fired at a really large boar, just as it disappeared into the bush, and the shot missed and ricocheted off a rock, and so the animal that I eventually got tore off downhill, straight past me at about 100 metres, and I managed to just tuck a bullet in behind its shoulder and flattened it. And I'd already used one bullet, so I managed to reload and shoot it again in the head as it flipped down the hill. So I was pretty happy with that performance.
Just come over that hill over there, and a mob of two-through pigs was out here. We're just heading back from the bush up there, and you can see I've managed to wing one of them. I'm just not quite sure where it's gone. It's a blood trail going downhill. So I'll follow it down and see how I get on.
Yeah, and there's a few other, sort of fairly ordinary sort of shots I've done with it. So after having it 2 years, I was sort of thinking, where do I want to go with this rifle? I use it in the bush quite a bit, but in reality in the bush it's just over 4 kilograms. I've got lighter rifles I can use in the bush. I've got single shots, and when I'm hunting in heavy cover for deer especially, probably only ever going to get one shot. So I'm carrying a second barrel around in the bush for no reason at all. So in the end I might just keep it for when I'm walking around in sort of broken country where something could pop up at any time, and there might actually be an opportunity to get a second shot for it. So if you're thinking of buying one of these, I'm thinking who would really want one, and I'm thinking probably the ideal place for it's actually in a place like Russia, where it come from. If you go out for a day's hunt, you might have the potential to shoot a boar, a deer maybe even a moose. 30-06, it's probably good for the size moose they have in Russia. If you could load this up with a 190 grain bullet or something like that, there wouldn't be a lot that it wouldn't stop. And for the type of country they have, up in the north or around there, it's probably ideal. I've never hunted there. I wanted to a few times, but I should imagine in that sort of semi-forest sort of situation, where you never know what's going to pop up in front of you. Could be a bear, could be anything. Something like this would be just ideal. It carries nicely on the shoulder. Yeah. With the exception of the triggers, it's actually a really nice rifle. And if you're thinking of buying one, of course, being a double rifle, you can't guarantee what the next one off the shelf is going to be like. It might shoot 130 grain as terrible, but be spot on for 190 grains or something like that. So I guess you pay your money and you take your chance. But at the price I paid for it, wasn't a risky purchase.